Shawnee, welcome to Unlimited.
Thank you very much, lads.
Pleasure to have you on short notice as well.
Well, look, I moved mountains to be on this podcast, lads.
You know, it's funny.
As long as the mountains had a pint of Guinness close to me, because it's after hours.
Saturday afternoon. You're going to Barbados in the next few days, right?
Monday. Just
Lovely.
Finished up a very busy week.
Record-breaking week.
Yeah, every month should be a record-breaking week. Some months it isn't, but it was this month.
That's great.
Yeah.
11 years in business and still breaking records.
Yeah, each
Pretty
year.
cool. Some people are a broken record. 11 years in.
He's waiting to say that.
I got some more stuff.
Yeah.
But that's good, right? Some people are a broken record, but you're still breaking the record. So
I'm probably wrecking people's heads, and that's a good one. Some people are broken records. But the message has to keep saying the same, or does it? You guys might tell me.
And it adapts, it moves. You know, the team that you have now, I wouldn't imagine are the same team you had 11 years ago.
No, nobody.
And the amount of DNA from cut and sew that's out there in the Irish barbering scene is massive, right? Like,
must be
across
crazy.
the world even.
I'd love to see like a photo or a map of the world, like, and actually where they've gone to.
Heat map.
A heat map, and like how well they've done, and like
That could be everywhere.
I'd love, actually, I'm going to ask AI to do that. Or
Probably
who's
map it
opened
out
the
yourself.
shop?
Yeah.
Who's opened the shop?
Probably
who's
map
moved to
it
London?
yourself.
Who's gone to Australia?
There's been a few gone to Australia, hasn't it?
One or two, maybe gone to the States. Not the States. Nobody goes to the States. Maybe the license thing, but
Different style as well, isn't it?
it is. Yeah.
From here.
Nobody. My little brother's working in Germany.
So,
Yeah, in Hamburg. So I'd say there's. Yeah, I'd love to go back and actually check.
yeah.
You know, like the world map, and have like the strings.
Should do that, yeah.
I should do that. My mind would work well like that.
It's funny, random enough, but my dad's travelling soon. Like in a couple of days, he's flying to Canada. He's going from the top of Canada all the way to the bottom of South America. And he's got this app called Polar Steps. And it shows you where you've travelled based on your pictures on your phone.
Oh my God, I
and I
love it.
pulled it up, and mine was just like, fucking all over Australia. It was just like immense.
Zigzags.
Yeah. Be cool to do something like that for...
1,000,000%. Yeah.
Because not many brands in the hair industry would have that type of, I guess, leverage in a sense. You know, like there wouldn't be that many strings.
Yeah, there wouldn't be that many strings. They'd be very, I don't know what the word is, not but basic could be a word, but I don't want to insult anyone, but you know, you cut in the city and then you open within that city.
They don't go too far.
Or you go back to your hometown, maybe, but yeah. Some international guys as well. It's great. Brazilian, that one, Spanish, from New Zealand, from Manchester now. Tommy, loads of people. Can't remember them all, which is scary. It's a crazy place to be in. I am a bit of a nerd in some ways. My laptop just got wiped about a year ago. All of my music, all of the cut and sew data. I never backed up the laptop with a hard drive because I never really had to. I just watched Netflix on it and like download music. So like I was thinking, I'm not going to be watching anything I shouldn't be watching. And like when I bought the external hard drive, I plugged it in for the first few months and was like, sure, it's never going to broke. And I improved it, and it's all wiped.
Yeah.
Might be in the cloud. I haven't really delved into it, but I would love to track.
Yeah.
And when I used to hire someone, I'd get a photo of them, a portrait. And you know, for the 10-year, it actually lasted up till the 10-year cut and sew thing, which is just over a year ago. And it was like a month later.
Wow.
So thousands of euro worth of music. So I don't DJ really anymore, but I was very like, even there's not actually many of the photos in here, but all these images at the back were like all photo shoots I'd done, and I had them all categorized in the year: shop, merchandise shoots, photo shoots. So and I'm a bit of OCD, so it kind of kills me that.
Yeah.
But there's bigger things to be worried about. Legacy.
Yes.
It's nostalgia, isn't it? Legacy.
It is.
Yeah.
That's what I like here. It's a bit of a mini museum. There's not that much in it, but there's enough to see the old logo, the Scorum kind of reference from when I started. And now I like the stickers because, you know, you might see some friends and brands that you like.
I like this photo down the back as well. And how old was that photo, or when was that taken? We can bring that up on the screen during the podcast.
Yeah. The buzz cut guy is two images, like image 2 and 4, and with the cut and sew merch could be 8 years ago. It's aged well. And then the image 1 and 3 is the same guy from Hairdressing Live thing I did. So Paul from Hairdressing Live would have taken them photos. And he actually, and to say that's Hairdressing Live, to say it could be better, but I was absolutely shitting myself.
You know what's interesting about it though, and what I love about it is that it's very client centric. It's not like, you know, when a client looks at it, they think, I could have that haircut.
Yeah, and wouldn't it be great to be like, that's what I want?
It's
Or
relatable.
something like, yeah, I didn't even think that would be a great idea because we haven't upgraded it. The idea was like that it would be a collection. You do an annual collection on the 5 best pictures. Get put up there. Nice for the staff to do, but
Absolutely.
when you're the owner, sometimes you're like, there's a bit of a, you kind of try to protect yourself. Like I'm sure any big brand, you want your own work to be the one that's perceivable. Now it's evolved so much that there's probably better barbers in here than me. There definitely is, actually. But they've got different skill sets than I do as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well. Yeah, 11 years. It's a mad amount of time, isn't it, to be doing it?
Yeah, I was very young, very skinny. What a ride, yeah.
Yeah, still as motivated as ever.
Probably more. A very interesting story that after year 5, could have lost it all. You know, first 5 years, no bumps in the road, so to speak. And then a huge bump. And from doing therapy, I like using analogies with my therapist. And he's more of a general counsellor. But I did him for when I was working on giving up drugs. And we said, if you're starting at one train station and you're trying to get, like the destination is another train station. We use Dublin and Belfast for us. He said, you kind of never really want to get to Belfast, but you don't really want to go off the tracks. But in business, that's the thing, you know, you want to keep on going until you don't even exist anymore. Like end of life. And then we're thinking, geez, we had some bumps in the road, but we fell off the tracks year 5 when the first shop, out of nowhere, the landlord was like, we're not going to extend your lease. I was like, what? And then that totally rattled me. No one ever trains you to think about that. And now everyone has an opportunity to like work with myself to do business coaching where I tell them you need to plan for your intro to business and your exit to business and have a clause and a solicitor. When I didn't, I was gentleman's agreement, and it was the best thing that happened to me. We had to move the first shop within 3 months. It was actually 6 weeks, but we got it done within 3 months, which is not strictly legal. But it happens a lot in business. I've now found that people just like, we need you out in all industries. And it's by doing that, it kind of scared the shit out of me to be like, I need to protect my brand, my future, and no savings. Never thought a rainy day was going to come. And then by that shop happening, I moved up to the other city centre store, which is actually another flagship. It's just as big as here. It's where I work. But it was the best moment in a way. I got back to like painting it all myself, doing a lot of the tile work myself, going to the skip myself. Brought me back to as hungry as I was when I was like first starting out. You know, you're like not even worried. Didn't even go to any social events, nothing. And then you have this hunger to be like, oh, I've got to get back on top of my shit. Very scary. Took out the first loan, a loan of €10,000 to cover me, whereas we would have been making that money in like 2 weeks. But I just was spending, not worried about the rainy day, a lot younger, you know, I would have been 32 then, single, partying, living for the weekend, everything going, busy, and all of a sudden I was kind of rattled. Then we got to year 10, and since then, you know, it's kind of, we went from, I think we had 3 shops then, but then to lose one, to think, I was like, oh my God, I could lose another shop and I'm back to 1. And that kind of sparked like, no, I need to be thinking long term. So anyone that is in business long, I wish them, when I see like 10 years in business or 50 years, no matter what industry it is, I kind of, you have to give them a nod and respect to be like, well done, in any industry.
Absolutely.
That's like the salon I trained in. I think they've done 75 years in business.
Wow.
It's a 3rd generation family business.
And when you see it, I'm like, it's nuts. So it does start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big game, isn't it? It's about keep playing the game.
The game, yeah, it is a game.
And that's what Alex Hormozy always says. He's like, business is just a game and the goal is to keep playing. Kind of like that like Dublin to Belfast journey. It's like the goal is to just keep playing. Yeah. But it's when then things happen, that's when it really has to be a game. Because it's like, okay, it's the how can I question versus like, I can't, it's fucked, it's over. It's like, how can I get myself out of this? What can I do? You know, and even in that moment, it's like, getting the 10 grand loan could have been the best thing that you ever did to save the business, potentially.
It's mad. And I got the loan from my business partner, and it was kind of a little bit of a, how have I not got €10,000 when I had 3 businesses? And I was like party animal. I was flying all over the world. Excuse me, I was buying designer clothes probably every weekend, all this stuff that just means nothing. The memories were great. I was very generous. I was renting a really expensive apartment, but because every week it was going to be loads of money.
Yeah,
I didn't have a rainy day fund, and just to be safe. And obviously the money, then I was like, I knew I had like 6 weeks. I was like, right, I can save. We didn't need to buy new chairs, but you know, setting up a shop, getting a lease, paying solicitors, builders.
Lots of hidden costs in business in general. Like, you know, I've had my fair share of lessons as well, and in the 4 or 5 years that we haven't been in business out of like being employees, like, oh wow, there's a lot of things that I didn't realise.
And then the other stuff, you're just like, what actually matters, you know? But it was a great thing to happen. And now look, we're about to open 7th shop. So in 11 years, you know, you could nearly, if you broke it down, the growth has happened during the pandemic. We opened, I think, 4th shop, and then 5th onto that, and then we bought number 6. We bought the business off a lady who did a coaching session with me to help her business, and she owns a really successful salon on hair products. But I was like, she didn't get the barber thing. She just tried to do the barber thing, and I was like, this is a gold mine, but you don't know how to get gold out of this. So I was like, she didn't really take my advice. The nicest woman, so she goes, I'd like to sell the business. We've one employee in it who's great. So she was selling me a profitable business for a very fair price, or selling us. And I was like, we're in a position to now, and we bought the business offer. I won't say the money, but it was more than €10,000. And I was like, hang on there, this is mad. Like every week that business is turning a profit, and it's a barbershop with like not really good branding. The aesthetics were wrong. And since we've done that it's like 6 months in. So we've obviously covered what we bought the business. We've now got 3 chairs in it, 2 of which are actually taken from here. And it's like, we could probably have a 4th chair in it. So, and it took me years to get one shop with 4 chairs. So it's funny how things can happen like that. That shop makes a lot of money. It's very profitable. So who knows? Yeah, it's crazy. Now number 7, because we're like, it's the right time, it's the right place, and it's I feel like I can handle that next challenge or game, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, momentum.
I like the game. There's momentum at the minute.
Yeah, momentum counts, doesn't it? And I think I'm interested to see like how our kind of business journey pans out in terms of like where we'll be at 10 years in. Because like it's a lot different, you know, year 1, 2, 3 is a lot different to year 10, I would imagine, in terms of decision making and all sorts.
Yeah, and you know, I was very emotionally connected to the staff. Like some of the guys in the original shop would have been like playing the friend card, but I was like under the illusion I work with you 5-6 days a week. I know like when your parent is sick or your family member is not well, and like one particular guy would have like crashed on the couch a lot of the time, and I said, I want to go home, and like you think of like a little brother, and I was like, of course. And then it's like you take people under your wing, and you're like, then all of a sudden these people don't even talk to you anymore, and you're like, did they play me? So now it's like, it's very hard to separate, because I would be friends with a lot of the staff, but it's very hard to put the boss hat on and the friend hat. So you have to kind of detach yourself, and that takes a 10-year period to know. And still learning, I'm nowhere near learned everything in it. So it's weird one.
Yeah, I guess that dynamic would always change too, wouldn't it? Depending on the kind of the roster that you have at that particular time.
And that's the thing, you do get very attached to the individuals because they're representing your brand, and you're like, they're part of Cut and Sew, and when they're out there, I want them to be proud to say, I work with Cut and Sew, or for Cut and Sew is what most people say. And I try to emphasise that you don't work for us, you work with us. And that kind of takes a massive pressure, I think, off them. It's like, you're not this big, huge company, even though we are very big. I'm like, no, like I'm still cleaning the toilet and sweeping hair. You see me cleaning up here a bit, lads, tonight. Just naturally start blowing out the hair. When I'm here, I'm still in work mode. And I think they like it. Some business mentors tell me you shouldn't be in the business all the time, but I'm very much attached to it. It's only 11 years in, so I want it to last my lifetime. I want to make it to Belfast at least, or be gone before the train gets to Belfast. So it'd be great if this was open, like this was here in like, I don't know, like 50 years. It'd be mental to be, so what's that, 39 more years? I think I'll still be here. But it'd be wild to be here. You guys wouldn't be as old as me.
Yeah.
We'll be on,
we'll be on Unlimited.
E-scooter.
We have a little. We'll be doing Dangerous and Focus or Unlimited.
Yeah, the last chapter.
Yeah. The bonus chapter.
Curtain call. Like, well, Sean, how's it been? And you're like,
one more pod to record. It's incredible though, man. I think, like you were saying, I don't personally think, given my experience in the barber industry so far, and just watching people in business in general, nobody's thinking that far ahead. So then the patience thing is key. For them, they're not patient enough and thinking far enough ahead,
So here's another thing. So because I do, it's very important, I do. Now people, because I think I've broken down this thing where 10 years ago, there wasn't someone you could go to say, hi, John owns John's Barbershop, right? We always use the old John's Barbers as a reference. And little Sean comes in and says, John, I want to open a barbershop in my town. How do I do that? John doesn't want to tell you. John is like, don't do it. You don't make any money. We all know John's busy. We all know John's probably making money. And now that I do coaching, a lot of the young guys, people figure it out. Oh, I can actually open a shop and I can do this. And it's maybe there's people out there that were starting to do coaching sessions, or you can do mentorships with, and it's a different world. And I'm like, I can help people now because there's enough people to go around and there's enough diversity for us all. And relationships are built. I think some of them do last, some of them don't, but I love now that there's a new area in this industry that we can actually help people be good people and grow also. And that's my thing since the get-go. I knew all the older guys, 4 shops in and around here. None of them helped me, but nor did I. I think I did try to get help, but they didn't offer help. And I don't know, they didn't change with the times. And it's so funny, I actually was in 2 of their shops in the last year, and I was about to take a lease in them, and I was like, isn't this kind of weird? How in 10 years... they didn't forecast probably. They just thought it was going to last forever because it lasted. Their train got to Belfast. You know what I mean? Which is what I don't want to happen. They weren't thinking ahead. They didn't move with the appointments. They didn't go with education. They didn't speak to a mentor.
They're the broken records.
They were broken records.
Well, you were breaking records.
Yeah, I love it. And they're, 50s. Like one guy, just 50. Another guy, bad health, in his 50s. And I'm thinking, I'm 39, I want to be working when I'm 50. Might be a different type of work, but these guys were still in the chair, struggling at the end, I feel.
It's tough, isn't it? That's tough.
And you almost feel for them. I remember these guys to me, I was like, there's John. I'll just call him John. I was like, you have this cool shop. I remember going into the barbershop, and one of the ones close by that shut down, I wasn't even welcomed when I walked in as a customer. Before I had Cut and Sew, I was like, this is not, there's something not. I actually walked out. Young guy, 4 barbers, bench, full. I was like, this isn't how it should be. It should be like, how's it going? Yep. Give me a nod, acknowledge me. And that's what I try and teach them. If somebody walks in the door, the chairs actually face the door, so it's very welcoming. It's all kind of pre-planned from my training as a hairdresser. We used to do a test where you get someone to walk in and you don't say anything for a minute, and if you see how long that minute is, it's hard. I'm a chatterbox. It's hard for me to sit and listen to somebody for a minute, but I will be a good listener. Well, if you do that test, you'll soon realise what it's like for a customer who's in to pay top dollar for a cut.
Yeah, well, like we were saying before we kicked off, it's like, it's not hard to look at somebody and know if they're going to be a busy barber based on their personality. You know, like, it's not really that hard to just acknowledge someone and say hello and how you doing.
And nod.
That actually means more. I think that means more in some cases than the haircut itself.
I would agree. 1,000,000%. The service is like, obviously you have to cut the hair to a standard. But I always say I'm not the best. I do my best. And I love that because I'm like, you know, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit, you know what I mean? But it should never be shit. It should always be, I think, if I'm cutting your hair once, it should be better. It's a little bit, 1% better each time or whatever.
And it's all about like the overall interaction, I think. You know, how does somebody feel when they leave the chair, you know? When they come in, they sit down, do they feel comfortable, you know? Do they feel good in the space? And then if they walk away and they still feel good, fantastic.
Or feel better. You know, it's nearly the thing I love. I only said it to a customer today. My second time cutting his hair, he got like a kind of one of these new mullets, and it's a 45-minute service. And I cut his hair the last one. He went to another shop and he paid for haircut and he booked me later on that day. And I was like, your hair doesn't look too bad. And then I looked at it closely and I said, oh, I can see X, Y, and Z. And the young guy actually that cut the hair is going to probably be a great barber. And he actually follows me and I think we follow him. So I would never rinse anybody. When someone comes in with a bad haircut, I never do that thing where it's like, where'd you get this cut? Jesus, I would never, because it's, you know as a professional that it's not done to your standard or their standard. And he obviously told me I went here and I wasn't happy. And a lot of that comes down to consultation. I was like, okay, what's like your vision? Can I do this with like this? I spent maybe 5 or 10 minutes with him. And then I spent the next 20 minutes just doing the cut. Did the cut, but the service was next level. I would back myself very much so with customer service, punctuality, timekeeping, manners, the way I speak, the way I smell, are my nails clean. None of that has got to do with cutting hair. I had the skill set, and then I seen him come past this shop maybe the other day, and I goes, he hasn't had his hair cut. Right, he's gonna come back. And then today I said I had 4 spaces left. I wasn't flexing on the gram, saying I'm fully booked, lads, till next July. He's seen the story, social media worked, he booked in, €50 haircut. Great lad, the relationship is there. He's probably gonna with me for the next while. Great lad. And I was like, brilliant. I still have the hunger to get new clients, you know, and the right clients as well. He's someone that I want in the chair every month, and he's now paying, you know, €50 is a lot of money here. And great lad to have in your chair, cool. He's walking advertising for Cut and Sew. He sent his boyfriend into me yesterday, you know, and I was like, yeah. And I goes, which guy? He clicked on the story and he goes, you actually put up information on here's the guy when he came in. I actually gave a free advice not knowing it was his boyfriend. And I did a before and after video. And he was like, yeah. I goes, no way. So there I was like, social media works. What a tool.
It does. I think even when you just get the phone out and get like a before and after, some people absolutely love that stuff, don't they?
Man,
like they love it. Some of the clients absolutely love it. Like,
yeah, I love the funny things as well, where, you know, the lads are kind of posing and, you know, but they love it. I think, you know, if you're good at your job, you know, I'm not going to say John, but like an older gentleman, sometimes they love it, but to certain people, you know, I'm an energy person that they don't, yeah, you're not going to get some person who's, I don't know, you know who's, but everybody loves it. They're like, yeah, of course, because they see like, wow, this guy likes what he's done.
Yeah, and they think it's better.
Yeah,
still,
of course.
You know, they're
like,
oh, they must be good, you know, if he's taking a photo.
Yeah.
We used to do a funny one in the shop. We'd take the before shot and post it immediately, just to like test ourselves. We'd post it
undone
before it was even done.
Yeah.
We'd be like, get Instagram out, video the before, post, and then we were like, it's got to be good now.
but then it's like,
oh yeah,
because it's on the line then.
Yeah.
You know, people would be like, so where's the after then? Then you have to post it.
I used to actually forget the after. Then everybody be like, and the after. That's why I like
I
Ardy.
say, nah, it was
You know, he goes, and And he's like,
Sorry,
I
you're
absolutely...
shit. That's something
Yeah, he goes,
Arnie-
I
that's something
absolutely
Arnie would
fucked
do.
that haircut.
That's
I
something he
like
would do.
it,
Just a
yeah.
story full of befores.
Yeah, there we go. And
No
that's
afters.
Or sometimes the before looks
None of these
better.
just sexy trims.
Sometimes the before looks better. As some of the before and afters,
Oh,
I
man,
see.
I'm
like,
so
well,
self-critical. I'm like, because I know when I look at other guys and they used to work in, so I'm like, man, they're killing it. And I'm like, that's the best I could have done. And then you always, I think you always still see, how could I do that better? Like, it's kind of striving for perfection, like the game. If your hair cutting when you start is the train station, and then your destination is to get to another train station, I think you probably never want to get to that. Like any artist or musician or
I think
creative.
there's a beauty in knowing that we'll never be there either. You know,
Yeah.
I think I quite
Who
like
knows what's-
I quite like the idea of it never being finished, you know? Like we always say, like, business is a working document, you know? It's a working document, like it's always adaptable, always changeable. We're always going to be making upgrades. We're going to be making changes. We're not going to become a broken record. Like that thing that happened in year 5. That was probably a blessing in disguise, because
It was the best thing.
think about John we were talking about.
Yeah.
50 years in, never had something like that. Maybe he's doing year 4, you know, 10 times.
Yeah.
Maybe just something hasn't happened yet, and
And
but
then
he's still stuck.
a pandemic happened. I fell for the older guys in all businesses, but I was like, wow, imagine being close to retirement and thinking the next 5 years is all my like retirement money, and that comes. So I felt shitty then, but you don't know what's going to happen. A family member can get sick. You don't think about this when you're in your 20s, really. Maybe some people do. I don't. I'm only 37 now, and I'm like, I'm about to buy a house and it's tough, and I'm like, I'm very lucky, but I work hard. It's like, as do a lot of people. I'm not saying that, but you need a rainy day fund, you know? I read a really good financial book from an Irish guy. Owen McGee is his name. I think I've just bought a second book, and if you read the book, it's very easy to read. It's like Business for Dummies, basically. 250 pages, and it just tells you about money and the relationship with money, and how, if you got sick, how would you survive? It's just a question he asked at the start of the book, and I'm like, hang on there. If I broke my hands and I cut hair, I can't cut hair.
Bothered.
Do I get insurance? These babies are probably worth some money, you know what I mean? But like, if you I love what you guys are doing. You're helping people make much better futures for themselves.
It's a fantastic question to ask. I think that's what kind of started us almost on the journey that we're on, in a sense, was the pandemic in Melbourne, and realising, what if one day we wake up and we don't really want to do this anymore? Then what?
How long I feel like you guys are basically living here now. Like, you're in Ireland, like, or travelling away from...
Yeah, we've been here now since the middle of March, since Paddy's Day, basically.
Like, you guys don't look like you're sweating or worried about it.
No.
And you've got more time to go as well.
Yeah, it's been
Doing all of
yeah.
your work. People, and that's what I'd love people to listen to if they're listening to this, or to watch, is like, you guys are away for months.
Yeah, we don't
And
see
you're actually
clients,
making
you know?
money, but you're living well, you know, if you can, and doing like, and you're younger than me, I'm like, you know, you guys should be following you and being like, okay, like, listen, you know what I mean? And look.
Well, yeah, that was, you know, a different set of skills that we've acquired over the years. And I think, you know what, the circuit breaker of the pandemic, COVID, is what gave us the opportunity. Like, for some people it was an opportunity, for others it was a break.
Yeah, it was a break.
Same thing
for me
with-
from cutting hair. I'm working.
The same thing with like a weekend like this one, you know, like we said before, we spoke to about 50 barbers to come and
Do
about
this
coming to our
workshop,
course.
2nd to 4th of June. I never forget it.
Yeah. 8 people, you know. And I mean, look, some people will look at the long weekend as a break, some people will look at it as an opportunity. It's like, I might get the skills this weekend that will change my life forever. And a lot of people do come away from our workshops with those skills. And it's not even like necessarily a skill, it's a way of thinking about the world. It's like, that question is brilliant. What if my hand broke tomorrow? Can I still make money? Like, and one of the first business coach I got, he had a stroke not long after I hired him as a coach.
Yeah.
And his business still ran, still grew. I still received all the value. And I was thinking, wow, like, that's actually nearly more impressive than him being here delivering the stuff to me, because he's able to be in a hospital somewhere and not have anything to do with it, but his whole team, there's SOPs, there's systems, there's processes, there's everything in place so that it can continue long after he was gone. Like if he had died there and then,
which he could have been,
and he could have.
Yeah, if you have a stroke, it's pretty serious.
He could have, and the business would still run.
Wow. And another thing for me is when I opened up a shop, and when I opened a second shop, I think that I always say this online, the hardest thing to do is go from 1 to 2, because everyone has this like fear of, I think we spoke about earlier on as well, they're not willing to put the time in. If I told you it takes 1 year at least to make a business work and to turn a profit, would you invest a year? Some people don't even want to invest a day in coming to do a workshop. So why would they do
a couple of hours?
A couple of hours
to come and do whatever. Like it's mad, isn't it?
But when they see it, if somebody had told me, Sean, you need to do this for a year, and I knew you would get it, you would do it. Because if you were like, okay, and every time we opened a shop, I had this blueprint of come and work in the shop for a year, have an apprentice or another guy with me, part-time or full-time. Yeah, and just give it time, believe in it. It worked once, it will work again. But if you don't have the systems or the patience to do that, some of my own friends, they can't do it because they don't want to put the time in. And I tell them it's not about just putting up one post once a week. You know what I mean? It's a consistent game, and it is a game. When I'm on my phone, my hands are sore.
RSI.
Yeah. So people are thinking this.
Your hands, you do have like arthritis.
Carpal tunnel.
Do you reckon it's from the social media or
it's
from
a million percent. Yeah.
It's
not from cutting hair.
hair.
I was watching you guys online, just like hooked. She's like, who's that guy you're always listening to? I was like, which one of them?
But I love it. I love it because I think it's still, even though we might scream it from the rooftops about social media and the importance of it, I still think it's the most important tool we have. It's a good question to think about, but would Cut and Sew be Cut and Sew today without the power of social media?
1,000,000% no. It's because I remember people didn't see it 10 old years ago, 11 years ago. When I look back at the photos, I dare everyone to go back to the very first. I think there was a photo of like a meal my dad cooked on the Cut and Sew Instagram. I didn't know what it was. And then maybe artwork or like just, remember the old filters? We were like,
everyone put these filters over.
We were like, oh my God, it's camera burn or film. And when I looked at it, but then something clicked. I don't know. It was definitely not conscious. I was just like, this is how it's going. And I remember, I think it was Victor Barber or Vince. I remember watching YouTube and not realising. I'd say he's still a big person. I just can't remember who it was. But I don't remember seeing anyone on Instagram doing it. But I just did it, and I was like, people were, because you could actually make a bad haircut kind of look good. To me, I was doing my best. But when you put it online, it actually looked beautiful. It looked like an old portrait. But I kept on doing it. And eventually, some of the photos don't have likes. So when you actually look at it, and then it just went bum, 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 bum. And a young guy had obviously seen it. Nobody had seen him. Like, what? This is what I want to do. Not realising that there was all these new guys in barbering. John's barbers were like probably sailing, like thinking nothing's going to come along. And the gravy train will continue, or the train will continue on its way to Belfast. And everyone was like, what's all this? Like, taking photos of haircuts. It was just, you come into the shop and you look at what's the name of the models?
American Crew.
American Crew, nothing wrong with that, but you'd be like, that's what we knew.
And they were the only ones doing it, really, yeah. At that time, like,
American Crew must have been like, I'd love to meet the guys and be like, I remember going, every barbershop had American Crew, everything. And then it grew, and when I got one guy in, the light bulb moment was, I had one chair and one mirror. That's the kind of, when the documentary happens, lads, it's going to come up, one chair, one mirror. Picture me.
Take a clip out of this podcast.
Yeah. And now look at him. But it was like, I don't have a second chair. And I never thought about having a second chair. So I didn't think Cut and Sew was going to be this. And that's what I like to tell people. And I was like, hang on there, I don't work Mondays. Do you want to try and come in on a Monday to this young kid, who's a guy called Jay Murray? And he was very good. And I was like, how many cuts did you do on Monday? And he said, I did 10. And I said, what? He goes, I did 10. And I was like, People talk about doing DMT, life-changing stuff. I was like, hang on there, 50-50 on that day, didn't know what to do. You take 100, I take 100. Haircuts were 20 quid, lads, back then. He was like, what? He goes, yeah, 100 quid to you, 100 quid to the shop, or in my back pocket. And we were like, okay, this could work. Get a second chair. Okay, no worries. It was like the maddest few months. And he could fade better than me. He had a half guard and a 1.5 guard. I didn't know what they were. Because I was confident doing, because I did hairdressing. And then it was like tag team. Really, really good. I'm the older guy. He's the younger cool guy. Bit of a Fergie David Beckham thing or whatever. That's when I used to watch football. And it was like, what are you doing there? And then I was like, fuck, this lad's growing. And then we had a good few followers, I say. Like, I don't know if it was a few hundred or like 1,000 or 2,000. And he used to literally had photos of his haircuts in his shed, messy shed in the background. I goes, man, them haircuts are way better than mine. So we utilised each other. Will you show me some scissor work? Yeah. I got a videographer in to do a video, started a YouTube channel, which has 4,000 followers, to be fair, which is a lot.
It's a lot, yeah, and YouTube is a lot.
It's huge. We can't grow it now, but like it was a consistent game. And then we did like phone. My personal phone was the phone, text or call, old school diary. And then it was the maddest 6 months. We then bought it. I remember buying the second chair and went full time. And then I was like, holy shit balls, I'm making another wage on top of my wage for just going from 1 to 2 chairs. And then it was ridiculous. The space we were in was a record shop. And they were like, we can't handle the traffic coming in. Like, we're trying to function here. And we said, I didn't know what to do. And he was like, well, we have a whole basement downstairs, which is the size of the whole upstairs of the shop. I think you need it. And I said, okay. And then we went from 1 to 2 to 4. And then that was packed in quicker time. Then we had to extend it to 6. It was madness. And it was like copy and paste. People were like, yeah. And there was loads of mistakes then, but there just wasn't that in Dublin. I don't even think in Ireland either. There was the Grafton Barbers and other barber shops. But yeah, it's mad. It's kind of weird going back down memory road for that stuff, because it's a while. I wish I could literally make a Netflix documentary about it real properly. But we did make a documentary called Not Just a Barbershop. It's on YouTube when we got to year 5. It's really well done. Have you seen it?
I probably have. Do you know what? I probably have. I reckon I would have seen it.
We had like some celebrity clients
right now, but I think I have.
Friends of mine seen it, and it's like it's actually really well made. I'd love to link it to this and be like, I'll swipe it up on when we release this. And I was like, wow, it's actually me in that shop, and you see me talking. So the footage is there.
Cool.
It is, and that's, you have to document everything, and it's wild, and it's on YouTube. Put it out there. Why not?
Yeah, totally.
That's what I love. You guys just document everything. Why not?
Well, that's one of the big things that I think someone asked me a couple of weekends ago, like, what's the biggest lesson you've taken from this tour? And I think it's that I don't think we've documented enough.
Yeah.
Like this tour, this is
I've seen all the shows, but
like behind the scenes, that's gold. That's
like when you're
worth its weight. Yeah.
Or what shit goes wrong.
Yeah, like that's worth its weight in gold. Yeah, the travel. Some days we've done ridiculous travel. We've been on coaching calls, early in the morning.
In the hotels, I've seen people sharing them.
We're hotel to hotel, we're doing this, and like that there is gold, because no one's really doing it like that, and for people to see that's what goes on is
really
gold.
For you guys, it's almost like you're kind of doing like an embedded world tour at that style. I would love you guys to be doing that, because it's great to meet you guys and see it, but people need to be like, the work and the hours that you spent today to come here for this, for like your brand and for the love of the craft. And then tomorrow, you've sold out 3-day workshop, which I'm so happy for you, because it should be sold out. It's wild. But look, you could be easily sitting in a spa or having a swim. Hopefully you do that later.
Oh yeah, we did that.
It's not all.
That was last weekend. So
it's not all hustle.
I was down in Clarny last weekend. I was doing that down there.
Okay, we didn't see too much of that on.
No. I keep that kind of quiet too, But yeah, I was saying that actually to Hannah. We were out for a walk the other day, and I was thinking, one of the biggest constraints in our business right now is having somebody to actually document what we're doing, because if we did, I feel like we'd be in a much different position.
If someone documented it to your standards.
Yeah, I think we would be. So we have our own goals to get, like, you know, certain numbers of people in our programs, certain revenue goals. I think we'd be above and beyond them if we had somebody documenting what we're doing.
We'd speak out like the Gary V and people like that, you know.
I know, when I seen you at Tony, was that Tony Robbins or Gary V or the Diary of a CEO? You went to these
those guys, and they have just someone filming. Yeah, they have someone filming all the time. So Gary has a guy called D-Rock. That's his name. Like, he reached out to him online, and we're like, where's our D-Rock? We're looking for that guy, you know.
But imagine to have the revenue, and to be like, my friend is a well-known DJ. I hate the word famous, but he sometimes part-time hires a videographer, and they get to fly. So Connor, that does media for us, Connor McCormick, great lad. He's documented a lot of our stuff to articulate the story. We spend a lot of money. A big part of the money is using these guys to portray the vision. But he flew Connor out to Tomorrowland. I'm on a plane with this DJ. You're there DJing to 10,000 people, but the two of them still have to have a consultation. What do you want? I want shots from the crowd. I want shots of me from behind. I want shots of me getting driven in the golf cart buggy thing up to the stage. And I'm like, why aren't you getting mic'd up? Because he's like, that's not my style. That's you know, the guy, what's his name? Oh my God. Really famous guy. Why can't the thing begins with D? Diplo.
Yeah.
He's like got this full-time manager, videographer, someone that creates content. When you watch his content, it's so funny. It's all like curated. And like, that's why we're seeing his content. It's like a team, or like, it doesn't just happen. You know, the cool shit's great, but like, these guys are making big money, and they're getting our attention. So just as much on stage,
100%,
or just as much off stage as on stage. And I love that. Most of our people now probably like, they don't really want to see a cool haircut. They kind of want to see
it's the
story and the people.
Yeah,
it's about the person. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Like, that's one thing I was going to say before we started, and I was like, I'll keep it for the podcast. But it's really, for us right now, and for yourself, I would imagine it's the same. It would be actually really easy to do that, because I would imagine, you know, your life is interesting enough that you'd be able to document it and have someone follow you, and, you know, you're doing it yourself on Instagram anyway. So like, there's nowhere to hide. I think that's what stops most people from doing it, is once you open it up and you go on like this, like long form, like on a podcast like this, there's nowhere to hide. It's like the real Sean comes out, or the real Owen comes out, or the real Leigh comes out eventually, because there's so many hours of us being documented.
So people can pick up on it.
Yeah. So like, who you'll meet like here in the conversation that we have on this is the same person you'll meet at the Irish Barber Expo. I would say better conversations happened off the stage after our show. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, I wish someone recorded that. That was,
and
like,
you continually were mic'd up, and it was almost like somebody was there. So you guys, these have 15 hours, I think, battery time, and be like, let's have a conversation. Gold, yeah. Man, I followed you. I actually seen this one particular clip, like the clip I see earlier on of you sharing, Leigh. And I was like, sharing, so this is a good message. And I try and do it as much as I can, or when it comes across, or it's organic. Sometimes I forget, but I'm like, you need to listen to this person or these guys. And then I know, it's like, I didn't have many chats that day, and that's what I regret. So I want to have someone to run around next year at the expo. And for me to work through and be like, I haven't seen you all year, but you came. What's the crack? Do you want to come to this next year? Do you want a team member to come? I spoke to one shop. I went to the bar to get Paddy and Warren a drink. And when I was there, I was like, I have a Coke for myself, 2 Guinness. And the guys from Dapper and Co in Cork and Ballincollig, the whole team, I goes, no. I goes, give us a hug. They asked me for a photo. Put a photo up.
One of them is coming to the course.
Amazing. And they were like, no, we love what you're doing. Oh my God, you must be so proud. And I was, well, I didn't even think about any praise or anything like that. I didn't have time to. And I goes, wow, these guys have done one-to-ones with me in lockdown. Just, Sean, you've an amazing brand. How do you manage the team? How much do you pay? Everyone asks the same questions. Our social media, our education. Like 4 or 5 questions everyone asks. And I tell them. And yes, I had to charge for my time because I couldn't cut hair in the lockdown. The value they got from that one-to-one made them more money than they'll ever know. Of course, I'm going to tell you how we do it or they do it. And if it works, like, they're going to make money every week off that employee. until they're no longer there. It's mad. And they just, I don't know, it was real nice to meet them. And I was nice that it wasn't documented. I documented the day, but I should have had a vlog done. I seen JD, who's doing your course, very intelligent young man. I'm keeping him close because I'm like, he's the next generation. You know, he documented the whole day. I love it. And I was like, I watched the whole 10 minutes of it. Brilliant. Having his guys mic'd up.
Totally. Yeah, when we built our brand in the education space in Australia, them first few years we were really hard on it, weren't we? Everything we did, we had somebody there, videographer.
And it's tough money, that's a lot of money.
Oh, we weren't making any money for the first couple of years. But that was the, you know, quote unquote sacrifice. Like,
yeah,
you know, there's no sacrifice.
That was the investment.
It's the investment, yeah.
Do you know that picture of, I think it's like the Japanese bamboo, where they're like, for a year it doesn't grow, and then overnight it does, and it's like,
it's 5 years. It's 5 years under the soil, under the ground.
And it's like, does it take? Then it's like, and then
80 feet in 6 months or something.
6 months or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love if we could put that up on the, or whatever. You know, the thing will pop up, and you're like, oh, what is that quote or that thing? I'm like, oh yeah, did it take 5 years or did it take 8 months? Or there's something in and around that. I need to find that thing up. I was like, it's like that. Nobody wants to do the stuff below the soil. You know, but they all want to see the stuff that stemmed from the soil, and they're like...
And I think that's the thing with us too, right? Like, as much as I'd love to have someone there documenting it all, it almost feels like good in a sense that it's like, okay, we're really like... I guess I'm very comfortable in, and Leigh's the same, I would imagine, in terms of like, this is who we are off the camera as well. Like, what you see on the camera is who we are off the camera.
This all the time.
And it's just like, this. It's great.
Spoiler.
It's great to have that kind of embedded in our own DNA as well. It'd be great to bring it to camera, but I feel if it goes there too early, does it become a show then as well, you know?
There's a fitness guys I like, and you know, you see these guys and like, I think when people create really good content themselves, mic themselves up, or they're filming themselves on a plane or in the gym, like Rob Lipsett, an Irish guy, and I'm like, you know, 600,000, oh no, he's nearly at 500,000 on YouTube, and he's not grown. He's like, man, I had him on my podcast just before Christmas. He's still like 25,000 away. He's like, it's so hard because I want to hit that 500,000 on YouTube. He's like 700,000 followers in Ireland. Well, he is from Ireland, and I'm like, he's pretty big. There's not many people in Ireland. Like, you might have Conor McGregor, Dermot Kennedy, but pretty much he's one of the most followed people in Ireland. Or you have Sheamus, the WWE guy, but I would say he's in the top 10 of Ireland, and he does a lot of it himself. He does work with other people, but you have to give that guy credit when he documents himself.
Totally.
He goes, you know, I don't know, you guys do create a lot yourselves, right?
So I've got a story about Rob. I cut his hair in Melbourne.
Did you? Yeah, yes. So he is exactly like...
Have you seen Leigh before the bodybuilding, no?
No.
Leigh used to do...
Put up a photo of him.
That's why his arms are so big.
So I met Rob when he was working with Alpha League.
Yeah.
And at the Arnold Expo in Australia.
Oh, I remember he flew out there.
So I was working the stand, and I met him there. That was the year before.
Okay.
And he was coming back out, and I seen he posted he was coming back to Australia, and you know, the comments were going mental, right? So
like, I want to cut your hair now.
No. So everybody would, you know what it's like. People like that, they put a post out and people just go nuts, right? So if I'm going to wait, I waited 2-3 days for the comments to calm down. I just slammed one in there. I said, Rob, if you want a haircut, come in. He DM'd me about 5 minutes later. He's like, I'm going to need a haircut. And that was it. I had him and Joe Delaney both in the shop.
Oh, yeah, Shred Bundy.
Yeah, Shred Bundy came in, yeah. So they were there.
And they're great. His content is so good now, Shred Bundy. He's Manchester.
Joey D's class.
Joey D. And I'm like, whoa. So I take inspiration from other industries as well. It's mad.
Totally.
Well, that's one of our tricks now. Like, you know, going deeper into where our philosophies come from, we don't really take a lot of inspiration from inside the industry. We've had to go outside.
And it just so happens to be that your, what's the word? Like your not your vessel, but like your profession is within hair, but also within like maybe motivation, or I don't know. It's kind of a bit life a little bit.
Yeah, there's a few. Do you know what? It's rare that you find people in the hair space that you really get a good feeling of like who they are through their content. I feel like that's one good thing about like about yourself is like when I see you online and we meet you in person, it's like we know what to expect and then we're not surprised, and you know, you share what you put online as your actual opinion about things.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, the fake it thing, I know. I'd be like, I was thinking I could totally hire a car. I was thinking about this the other day. Hire a Rolls Royce and pull up to a new shop and be like, we're killing it, right? And I was thinking to myself, I had a mad thought. I goes, people do that like online as a job.
Yeah, and people fall for it.
And I was like, I don't even drive, right? I get like walk or get like public transport. And I'm like, you know, I'm not being true to me. And I think you need to be, you don't need to be relatable. If I am relatable, I've only 5,000 followers on my personal page. But it's probably, I can live really comfortably with that amount of followers because they know who I am. I'm my true self. I'm authentic. And I put myself out there. They're like, this guy's just trying to make money to survive. I literally said it today. I said, I want to make money because I'm trying to set myself up to buy a house and to make sure that I'm okay if I couldn't, you know, work when I'm older or got sick. Just fucking tell people your story. I think everyone's story is different.
and what's wrong with that, you know? And that's the
it's
thing.
interesting. I don't want to know. Like, I don't want you to copy me. I don't want, like, you know, you to copy Leigh, and then, you know what I mean?
The amount of people we know though with big followings who are completely broke, like just and in a lot of different capacities, not just broken monetarily or financially, but fucking inside, just broken. And it's like it doesn't solve everything, you know. One of the coaches that we have, he says a great thing. He's like, you don't need a big following, but you need a responsive one.
A responsive. I always say it's not about the following, it's who follows. So if you have an index of like 100 people that come to you for a haircut every month, and that's your thing, that's golden.
But that's within the 5,000. They're within your 5,000.
All the people that love.
And you have 4,900 more people just looking at it.
That are like, and then...
You know?
Yeah, it's funny. You know, when you put up a poll, I try and do my own social media marketing. Is that the word? Or should we open late? Yes or no? I don't have a marketing team, or we don't. And it's when you put up polls within the Cut and Sew Instagram or something, you can actually get the answers you want from that audience. But the metrics or what's the word? The amount of people that follow to the amount of people that see it, to the amount of people that actually hit the funnel on social media, it can be so low that you couldn't really just go off it. But back in the day, we would go off it.
Totally. And that's actually very interesting.
That's direct marketing. So I'd be like, should we open on Sunday? Yes or no? And we would go with that. And then, but all the guys that hit that, who's coming in for a haircut?
It's different now, isn't it? It's changed.
Yeah,
that's changed too in the last 10 years.
Yeah, as your following grows as well. Because I'm the same. Like, I'm on the smaller end of a following, and Seth Godin speaks about it. If you want a great marketing book, get This Is Marketing by Seth Godin. Fantastic book.
Okay.
And he has an even smaller number. He's like, you only ever need 1,000 raving fans.
But to get to that is hard. That's when I tell the staff, I'm like, I've only 500. I'm like, man, that is huge.
It's huge.
Like if you had a birthday party, how many people come there? 50. So you have 10 times more people following you online.
Once upon a time, 500 would have been loads. Like when I first started and I was doing Snapchat, that's what I was in from. I was using Snapchat. If I had 500 people in Snapchat, and you know, half of them even were people who were coming to get haircuts, that was huge. That was plenty. Why would I need any more?
Yeah.
I can't even serve that many more people.
Yeah.
And I tell people
that's where the context of the following gets all skew-whiffed, doesn't it? But
yeah,
the bigger, especially now, the bigger your following grows, you're going to get a global audience. And questions like that, it's not direct marketing anymore. You're marketing people that are probably never going to be in your chair. So it's the purpose of your following is really interesting as well. And I think now a lot of people just lose focus of that. They don't even really know what to do with their following, you know.
So for us, with like even opening a new shop, when I look around Dublin, because there's probably going to have Cut and Sew happen in New York, and the reason why it's going to get there is because I travel there a lot, and I have a lot of friends there, and I have friends that own businesses there, and friends who are very successful. They own bars and clubs, but I went there and got my haircut in the coolest spot around, and I goes, this is like Cut and Sew, and if they can do it, I can do it. And I believe in stuff like that, and it's like, when I see a new space within Dublin, I could go to Cork and Galway, but I'm like, you know, there's other cool barbershops in Cork and Galway. But if there's a space opening up in an area, and in Ireland we have the Grafton Barbers, they're like Centra, they're like convenient, they're like convenience stores. They're one in every town that everyone needs bread, milk, sugar, and people need their haircut. So if there's a space that I like the look of, it's affordable, and we check the rent and rates and costs, can it happen? Yes. And I'm thinking we've 7 within Dublin, but Dublin is huge now. And I believe it will work. And I think when you're doing stuff online, when you think of how many people in the world in your audience, I want to sell an online ticket to a coaching call. You could, like, it's actually endless, but it's just about how do you attract them, and is that like, there's a skill set involved in it that people aren't really seeing, and I'm not really good at that. So my audience generally is within Ireland and Dublin. Few in the UK, but it's scary. I'm probably thinking too small in other ways, but like, you got, you know, for you to come do courses all over the world and bits and bobs, like, it's, you know, you are reaching a lot of places.
Yeah, and like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with just doing it here then as well. Like, I see that as like, well, that's great, like, just focus on that then. Because even with Cut and Sew, I see, when I think of Cut and Sew, I think Dublin.
Yeah,
you know, I don't.
It's an institution.
I almost
kind
don't
of like,
see it. I don't know. I almost don't even feel it in Cork. I'm like, nah. I'm like, it's not Cork. It's Dublin. You know.
Yeah, and it's everyone's like, would you not do it there? And I'm like, that's not really what I want.
New York, I can see it. That makes sense because of the Irish connection. You know.
It was in London. I was like, we were thinking, and I goes,
nah, stay away from that place.
Yeah,
nah.
That's what we do. The £50 haircuts, which
nah,
is
London,
cheap in London, but I was like, there's so many cool places in London. You know, I'm not like that real like vicious people like to sell my soul to try and have a shop there and I know lots of other brands open shops, and I'm like, man, you're not making money there. It might look good and set like it's, you know, like, remember years ago it was like London, Paris, New York, there's like Gucci and t-shirts. Yeah, that sounds good, but like, what's the word? That is like, that's vanity, where it was like your profit is sanity. And I'm like, yeah, like, I know how to do my job in here. Why would I, you know, not?
And that's what I always say. There's enough money in barbering to get wealthy. There really is. You just got to know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, you get, you know, you've created yourself a nice little incubator now. You can make it work. You know, it's like,
yeah, if I focus on it, and I need to get better at that. How can I? This is already here. So like this, someone told me, I think the answer was, this is like you've struck oil, so, or a gold mine. This is a gold mine, so your brand is worth millions. Like, it's unlimited, really, and it actually is. You know, it's a 7-figure brand now, which is mind blowing, if you know what I mean. I think Sean, the one chair, one mirror, but it's like, hang on there, no, like, this is a serious operation. But when you know me and you tell people, they obviously like the story and the narrative and all the individuals that are here, but I need to now know how to make money, or how to make X amount of money out of this in a profitable way, and not to be like a horrible boss. You need staff. You need to have a beautiful space. You need to buy good chairs. You need to create this mural, because we were like, it needs a refresh. That was just a white wall with random bits of art on it. We've invested in this artist. This is going to be here until we're not here. You know, loads of little bits in like, improve always in all ways. I love that saying, you know. Yeah,
improve always in all ways.
I definitely robbed that. You know what I mean? But it's
great. I like it.
To like,
yeah. I think it's invest too, though. You know, when you invest in it, you believe in it.
And like you guys, I'm sure you're like, if you're really serious about becoming, like, getting on your program, the 101, or when it's, you know, your own private education, you're like, if you pay for something, you'll value it, I think, more. You know, I totally get that.
Yeah, and people don't, and this is savage to say, but people don't invest in themselves because they really, truly, deep down, don't believe in themselves either.
Yeah, you know,
to actually follow through and do the thing.
Belief, yeah, because the higher the ticket, they have to take responsibility then and actually do it. And that is an underlying fear that stops a lot of people. They'll disguise it with, oh, this expensive. What they really mean is, if you get behind the words, it's really shit. That's a lot. If I invest that, I then have to take responsibility and really make it work.
It's like I'm doing driving lessons at the minute. the driving lessons, you need 12 here now. The minimum is 12 and it's whatever, €60 each. And I'm like, okay, is it €1,200? Yeah. Or no, whatever it is, it's whatever. €1,400, we'll say. And I'm like, when you break it down into week by week or once a month, it's not that much. And now I'm like, I've done the 12 and I can go for the test. So if it's a 3-day course and it's X amount, you break that down, you're like, yeah, okay, but you actually have that knowledge forever. I'm like, that's less than pennies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So most people, why don't you want to invest? Or why? Yeah.
Most people only ever focus on what it's going to cost them. They
How much is
rarely
this?
focus on what it's going to make them.
No, and you're like, yeah.
But there, if you rewind, right, like if you take the lesson from, say, year 1 to year 5 when that happened, you know, we've all been there. You know, I'm sure, Leigh, you've probably been there when you were younger as well. But I've definitely been in the week-to-week kind of cycle where it's like, you know, I'm making my money this week. That's the thing about barbering. It's very brick and mortar. Like I'll do a haircut now, I'll make my money now. And if I'm not doing a haircut now, I'm not making money now. And that only lasts so long.
Well, I'm like, if we go back to John. So John had this thing and it lasted 50 years, or it lasted forever actually, up until things changed. And if you want to call it social media, totally changed it. And the guys were like, huh? And now it's a different buzz where it's social media is a tool. I'm like, guys, we're doing a social media staff training night. It couldn't be more important, because if they have 500 people, but that's not translating into them being busy. There's only so much we can do and the shop can bring in, but we have to kind of teach them now. This is how, you know, you're going to, what's the word? Communicate with your audience and followers. Oh, you actually like doing skin fades all the time, or you like doing creative haircuts. It's kind of simple to us guys, but like to someone that doesn't know, it's like, what? I have to take a photo of a haircut and a video and a booking link. People don't even know how to do a swipe up.
It's part of the job now.
Part of the job.
I think it's important as well for people like yourself and like us who've been in it a long time. Like when I started cutting hair, social media didn't exist.
Yeah,
it's free marketing. Ridiculous.
It still is free, isn't it? I know
like,
they're trying.
How hard was it back in the day to try and get 1,000 people to come to you back in the day? Very hard. Very hard.
We wouldn't be able to
leaflets around the houses and stuff.
We used to have to stand outside shops and like, do you want a haircut free hair? I still tell people, I used to have business cards on me, paper, and when I'd be out, I would see somebody with a cool haircut. This is from hairdressing, which was 20 years ago, and they told me that. I'm like, yeah, see somebody with a cool haircut. Now people are doing business workshops on it. How do you get in the right clients? You fucking go out and grab them, or, you know, you go out and it's like, this is my QR code. Here's my Instagram. Make sure, can I follow you? I love your look. It's mad. Hairdressing is a lot further advanced than barbering. We're in such infancy.
I was a hairdresser too. That's how I started. Yeah.
Some of the best people I know did that first, not to knock down barbering as a craft, but like, I come from hairdressing, and if cut and sew is a success, if you want to call it that, my DNA was customer service, talking to clients like we spoke about at the start. Make sure you greet someone the second you come in. Nothing has changed. Should be better.
I think it's a timing thing too. Like, I think then we had to get creative in how to acquire clients. Like, we had to. You know, we have this thing we say, if you're from the city that you're working in, no reason why you shouldn't be busy.
Oh yeah.
If you're from here, how on earth are you not busy?
Yeah, it doesn't make that.
I'm going to use that to my staff, because I'm like, I know. And then when the other guys who aren't from here, the guys from Brazil,
because they got to get creative, right? So,
and they get creative online, and they're putting up banging haircuts. Well, that's a golden nugget I'm after getting.
So I'd be out, and maybe one of the lads was at the arts uni or something. I'd be like, he's got nice hair. He would come in, make sure it's a really good haircut. You got any mates? And he'd send him in. And before you know it, I was nearly fully booked before I was even qualified. And it's like, you don't really see that buzz going on anymore.
And people are like, there's nobody. I always hear this, and I'm like, yeah, there's no real walk-ins today. And I'm like, walk-ins? I goes, okay, there's the odd few, and people, but what does everyone do when they go to and from work? They pick up this device and they're glued in to this, and they're like, madness. And I'm like, you need to be, because the shop is on this street, There's only X amount of people going past shop, but hundreds of thousands of people go past, as you can hear there behind us. None of them they're all doing this. So you need to be here.
On their thing, yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a good thing to rely on walk-ins anymore. You know, the industry, it's just completely, people have changed.
No, you have to get people to walk in.
Yeah, it's like, you can't.
Yes, that's the thing. You have to get people to walk in. It's not like they're not just going to walk in anymore. People don't do that with anything.
When
really.
you look in here, we have to have a cut and sew. There used to be a barber. I don't know if that's right English. There wasn't a barber pole here. And in some of our shops, they're like, what's cut and sew? And I'm like, can you not see all the barber chairs? They don't know what they are. Really, like someone like, is this an alteration place? Do you do like trousers and curtains? And we're like, oh, it's a barbershop. Why don't you have loads of people who haven't a clue about the industry? Why doesn't it say barbershop on it? And I'm like, it just doesn't. You know, do you like the aesthetic of the shop? Or they're not our audience who are asking that question. It's actually, oh, that looks slick.
But that's great market research too, though, as to like how
Is
simple
it that a
things
name
have to be.
sounds out?
Sometimes sometimes
it should be Barbershop. €10 haircuts.
for the right person, John's Barbers works.
John's Barbers are gold mines. Don't discredit John's Barbers, by the way, to the listeners who've listened and invested in this episode. We should challenge people to watch and listen to this whole episode, because there's fucking gold in it.
Oh, absolutely.
You can beep over my...
We're just scratching.
Yeah, no. We wait. If you heard the podcast we just put out, we put out one with Johnny Baba, and it was like fucking non-stop.
I get the full go here now. That's me trying to do it.
The first 2 minutes there's about 10
fucking
fuck
bleed
bombs in
bar
there. Yeah.
We should do
I
a
can't
counter.
do his accent.
We should ask AI how many times he swears, and
Yeah, right for it. Yeah.
He just doesn't give it... I'll actually just that one I'm going on holidays, because I like Johnny.
he's great.
Yeah.
That's
How many shops has he got now?
5 or 6.
Big, and I say they're turning over money, I
I'd
imagine.
say he's doing well. Yeah, seems like he's doing well. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
man on the products on his Instagram, his socials has come up. I'm like,
another man on the social media who's done it well. Like,
and he's doing it better now with the products and
but stuck to
talking.
his thing too.
yeah, but stayed in his lane.
Anyone else?
Stayed in his lane. Done it well. You know.
Yeah, and I can see that now, because I'm like, that old school buzz and the lay right and the pomade classic, and then he's doing mods, and I'm like, no, he's that's it. He's just focusing on him.
It is like
Barber. I nearly forgot about, but like, just because you forgot about it, you know, in some way, it's not that I have forgotten about it, but I'm like, oh yeah, but his videos are going more huge. But then it's like his businesses, if they're still growing and thriving, there's a niche for everyone.
Yeah, but you just know the people, similar to the way you know the people who are going to do well when you meet them and speak to them. You just know that those brands are always going to exist. You know, Cut and Sew is one of those as well.
Yeah, I believe in it. But if you know me, you'll be like, you know what? I just, even the way I speak, I'm like, next year, I would love, and I'll make it happen. I'd love next year to be like, no, if it needs us, you have in the shop for 3 days next year or whenever. Now that I know it and how well it does, I'd be like, yes. It's just that I'm not here and choose. I kind of want, a bit selfish of me. But I know it works, and you guys are going to be like, no, we're going to do a bigger tour next year, and we're going to sell out twice as many. I'd be like, I know, when you meet you person and online, you can see the honesty coming through, which you can tell. But what you say earlier on, you can kind of tell a guy or a girl if they're going to be busy or not, based off the initial energy. You know, I can see that for successful people.
Totally. And like, I said this during the week, I can't remember where it was, maybe it was on Instagram. I did a live, and I was like, let's see who's around in 10 years and what they're doing. And I might not be doing the exact same thing, but I'll be still using social media. When I was a cyclist 10 years ago now, I was using social media to my advantage to tell my story. It's such a fantastic tool. I don't know why people wouldn't use it in that regard.
Yeah, it's always been a fantastic tool, though. It's just another form of marketing. Marketing's been around forever.
Yeah.
It's just another form.
When I think of it, I just think of the 60s, cigarettes, alcohol, all these companies like Mad Men, you know, it's like smoking is cool or all this. But like, when you see the genius of some people, you're like, that's really good marketing.
If you want a great documentary to watch,
please.
It's called Century of the Self. And it's by a guy called, so that they follow a guy called Edward Bernays, and he's Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Right.
And he taught the American government mass manipulation. And that's basically all marketing we see today came from that one, they reckon all stemmed from that one man. He makes women smoking cool.
Like the breakfast thing, that we need the diet. No,
that was him.
That was him. Yeah, the whole you need breakfast, and they've funded this. You need to have meat and eggs, or all meat for like sausage, bacon. You didn't need that in your diet years ago.
So he helped the American government manipulate the masses.
Wow.
So he's the brain behind. He's dead now. But the documentary, a 5-part documentary, I'll send it to you. Anyone watching as well, watch it. It's brilliant. So that market has been around forever.
Yeah.
We are just in a new phase of it. And the craziest thing about it right now is it's free. That's what blows my mind when people say, no, I don't want to use social media. I'm like, are you joking? Do you know how much you would have had to pay 20 years ago to get your message out to, say, some people have got, tens of thousands how hard it is to reach tens of thousands of people 20 years ago. And expensive.
Now in context for this chat, 10 years ago, we'll say 11, we didn't really know. There was just this app. So I only had the traffic, because I was in Temple Bar, guys came in, and then word of mouth, tiny little bit. Word of mouth still is super strong. But now when I think of how hard I've worked to build up the following that we have, there's a guy on TikTok a year ago. He's now over 200. Like now it's moving so quick that a guy can go on TikTok and eat chicken fillet rolls all day, and he can make more money than I ever have from reviewing chicken fillet rolls.
I know.
And get paid 10 grand per chicken fillet roll.
It's wild, isn't it?
So lads, if you think you can't get rich, you're wrong.
You can. Oh, this, yeah.
Go and review eating different Mars bars in different countries, the food review or whatever. I know, and you can do it from your phone.
There's always a way. It's just, are we willing to see the way,
Yeah, you can actually do it quicker now than our...
Yeah.
But we're building longevity, and I deal with one guy called Paul Handsome Center. He goes, you can make 250 quid to go and review a pub or a food place. But like that could be a trend for a year. What is the longevity? Do you have any training within the food industry or a drink industry? No. Are you making money? None of these guys are making real money, because you need to have a sustainable product of value. And his product, and does e-commerce. I'm surprised we don't have his product here. Handsome Sense.
We saw it at the Expo. Yeah, saw it at the Expo.
This guy is like doing big numbers.
He had the Ray-Bans on.
Filming. And he filmed everything. There's about 7 clips.
A little camera on the Ray-Bans.
On the Ray-Bans, and he did everyone talking to the little thing and all. Amazing.
But there's something in there. I think two things that I just hear there is like, it's important not to get stuck in our own mentality. So not be like, but this is the way we did it. This is the way that I did it. That's not always a good mentality. And there's also so much to learn from these young guys.
Yeah.
They know something about something. All right, they might not have the killer skill set. Maybe they don't even have longevity, but they know something. And it's important not to ignore that. Because if us old boys ignore it.
Yeah. Amazing.
So it's going to be interesting, guys, isn't it, to see where it all ends up. But like that, I don't know who that was, right? But you're waving at someone. Like,
it was a client of Cut and Sew.
But life is a game of sales. Like, to do well in life, I think you got to have some sort of like sales skills. You know what I mean? Like, I watched my granddad. He was a very successful man, and like his number one skill was like people skills.
But was this your mum's dad?
My dad's dad.
Okay, because your mum's very successful.
Yeah.
From what I know.
Yeah, and he was great too, my mum's dad. But my dad's dad was a very successful businessman. And his main skill would have been people skills. But like, in order to have good people skills, you need to be a good person yourself. Like, in a sense, it'll take work on yourself. You need to have that investment in yourself.
There's that great book, Napoleon Hill, and it's called How to Sell Your Way Through Life.
So I got some books on some...
But he said...
documentaries.
The first couple of opening pages is like, but everything in life is sales. You're always selling.
Like, you sell yourself
you sell.
When you like walk in somewhere.
The moment you open your mouth, you're selling.
To get a partner, maybe you're trying to sell your best self
to your team. When someone comes,
when you go to a shop, when I go to a gym, I try to be a nice partner. I'm trying to sell my
like for whatever you do.
Yeah, and it's funny where that ends up,
Yeah,
I always think this in the Cut and Sew documentary, or the whatever you want to call it, the Not Just a Barbershop. My friend, the DJ lad who spoke about, the famous DJ one, he flies all over the world. He was like, his person, they talk about, Sean, how do you know? He goes, his personality is everything. And this is him telling me that. Now I'm like, okay, he's not wrong. I'm not the best barber in the world, but I'm fucking pretty good with people. Like really, no one emphasizes that. They don't teach it in school, but your manners, from when I was told to, you know, when you went to McDonald's as a kid or whatever, empty your tray, put it back, or put that in. When I see people spitting and throwing rubbish on the floor, it boils my blood. But when I see like a little kid going to the bin, rubbish in the bin, I'm like, that's a good human. You're gonna do well.
Yeah. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Yeah.
What is it?
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Wow.
There's a great guy called Chad Veach that I follow. He's a Christian pastor. I'm not overly religious, but I love this guy's work. He's big into leadership. He teaches his kids. There's the three tenets. It's help and love others, be a kind person, and have a great attitude. I love that. Like, personality to me links into attitude. I think a lot of it is about attitude as well. Like, if you've got a great attitude to life, to work, to helping others, yeah, I think you're a million miles above everybody else anyway. I think it carries you a long way.
I know.
Just developing a great attitude for life.
Because what's the opposite? Like,
well, because our question is, well,
we always say that.
The opposite?
Like, well, what's the opposite?
What's the opposite?
You know?
Instead of the alternative, or the same thing. Is alternative and opposite the same? Yeah.
So what's the alternative to that? Could be a shit person, like,
be a shit person,
spit on the floor, don't
why
clean up
not
your
work?
shit.
What's the opposite of working hard?
Yeah.
You know, being lazy, I suppose, or
Yeah.
yeah. I think my mum and dad are serious hard workers, and I wonder when I see people, just because we're in context to where we are in Dublin, there's drug addicts. You know, people I think have had to have. Not many people I think end up on heroin or crack from good parents or good social circumstances. But when I think just my story, my mum and dad, and literally just hear what you said, my mum and dad were super hard workers and really good, and I think maybe that is instilled in me. I don't know too much but Lee's, but like obviously you are, but is it the same? So your values and kids, is it like the first few years kids just see what their parents are doing and how they're raised? So I do think
monkey see, monkey do. You know? It's a bit like that, you know. And I had fantastic role models growing up when it came to my grandparents, especially, you know.
Yeah.
And my mother are great. My dad, like, just how they are with things, you know, like, it's just how they are with people. I was lucky enough to spend 6 months or so living with my granddad in Spain towards the end of his life, you know, when he was older. And just how he was with people, you know. And he was almost like giving me the behind the scenes, you know, like before we'd go out, he'd brief me on like, so these are the people we're meeting now, and this is what they do, and this is who they are. And then like halfway through a dinner or something, he'd just wink at me and he'd give me the, like, he'd say something, you know. And it's almost like he was giving me permission to be like, push it a little bit in life, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like ask for what you want to hear, like, you know, like push it until the yellow card, like, you know, until you get.
Yeah, you don't want to skip. Yeah, and you don't want to get the red card. I like that,
but not like know where the line is.
Read the room, kind of.
Read the room, know where the line is. You know, social etiquette and
is that too
manners.
far? You've got
and manners too. Like manners, it was massive. Like he was big with that, and so was my grandmother. My grandmother's from Crumlin.
Okay, brought back well.
But she was mad, like mannerly too. She was super like. She would go crazy about even just the knives and forks and the plate. Like
I was on the table.
Yeah, no, you can't. Like all of that kind of stuff. So like that still is in me. You know, there's nobody I meet, like, really, or very few people I would. One thing I fucking hated when I started barbering was this whole like standoffish shit, and nobody would like shake each other's hands or say hello. Like same in cycling.
What's up, bro?
Same in cycling. There was the same thing. It's like people who. As usually the people who aren't quite the best. The best of the best people will come and they'll shake the hand and they'll say hi, they'll have a conversation. But it's the ones who almost think they're almost there, they're not quite the best. They're the ones who don't do it.
We met, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We met like that. We were at an expo and we didn't know each other at that time. Yeah, we didn't know each other at the time, and we briefly met, and I was sat on the table just behind me with a bunch of other people. They dipped off and I was on my own, and Owen was like, come over here, you can't sit on your own, and no one else said a word.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's how kind of we built a deeper friendship. Yeah.
It's amazing to see you guys kind of where you're at, and even to chat now. I know it's a long week, long few months for you to chat, but it's very refreshing you know, because for years I remember sitting here doing an interview with Larry the Barberman.
Oh yeah.
And
wow, that's a
I
throwback.
haven't really sat in here and had a chat.
That's a big throwback.
That's a very big throwback when you couldn't have the adapters.
Wow.
And in a different stage of my life, it's nice that we're in this space. Things have changed. I literally came from a house party. I was hungover to bits. I don't know if I slept or not. I remember, and the videos on YouTube, and you can see me, this young guy.
I watched it.
Lost.
I watched it.
And I probably was high and drunk. It's real sad to see. And now I know I've had a Guinness, but well earned after a busy week. Different man you're listening or watching to now. It's kind of nice to see and to come back to you as a little bit younger, not in a patronising way, but like really good outlook on the industry and the value you're probably giving and creating. As you said, you're really building something special. It's a credit to you guys. Like, you should be very proud of yourselves.
Well, thank you.
It doesn't go unnoticed, and as you know, sold out workshop. You know what I mean?
We speak about that. It's the value and the values both at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's why our education is the way it is. It's our worldview. It's our philosophy. It's our ethos. That's what comes through the education.
Pretty bulletproof.
And that's what makes it. But that's what makes it its own thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's why it is life changing, and we hear every session.
I know. I love to see testimonials.
Life changing.
And that's why we can stand on stage at the Irish Barber Expo
and not cut hair,
not cut any hair.
Love that.
And like, just talk to us. You know, give us anything.
And we're a tough crowd.
Anything at all. I don't care. You're not going to hear a different answer somewhere else. Like, you're going to get the answer. You know. So, yeah. Thanks for having us at the Irish Barber Expo as well.
No worries,
amazing.
my pleasure.
Really
It was great.
And thanks for doing this. This has been great.
I was probably one of the only English fellas in the room, so you know.
No,
I was walking in there thinking,
you and Ardy, he brought the house down.
That's it.
Yeah.
Lots of gems in that podcast, Shawnee. And you know, you have your own podcast, of course.
Season 2 coming soon.
Dangerous and
Need to get it started because I want to build, like, what's the word, momentum.
Tell us a bit about that if anyone's listening who hasn't seen it yet.
Different outlook. We don't really talk about barbering in it. I might talk to people who I've met through Cut and Sew and through like LISO clients, but 10 different people from 10 different industries in season 1. I might get a barber or two on down the line, but it's just great to chat to people who I find very interesting, and it's a really easy listen. They're 1 hour long, some are a little bit less, but you can just dip in and out with someone who you find interesting, and you can see, you know, a snippet on all the social media platforms of what it might be about. And, you know, it's really good. You can listen to and get stuck into whatever episode you like. Yeah, it's great. It's online. It's on the internet. Not going anywhere, I hope.
Absolutely. So anyone who hasn't followed Sean, I highly suggest you do. Sean Cut and Sew.
Yeah. You've got the daily and dates. It's great.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just strap yourself in. It's going to be a hell of a ride.
Follow your own route.
Yeah.
You know what though? It's very refreshing. Like, and I think it pays for people to watch something and have something on their page that challenges their point of view as well. Even if it's something, I'm sure people don't like the stuff that you post from time to time.
Loads of people don't.
But that's okay, like, as well. It's like, why not live in a world where both can exist, you know? Like, we look at things and we don't always like them either. From all sorts of things that we see online. But it's like, I won't unfollow someone or block it or whatever. It's like, I can let it coexist. I can learn from it. It's like, oh, that's that person's opinion on that. Cool. Like, why not? Just they're doing their thing.
And you can mute, and you can, you know, you can create the content you consume, or like you can I don't know if someone can consume the content you create, but you know, that's what you follow, people who you like, or you don't follow people who you don't like. It's very optional.
Absolutely. Opt in or opt out.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm sure there'll be many more records to be broken. By the time we do another one of these, there'll be more records broken.
I can't wait now. I'll be sponsoring this now and be like, make sure I want this to be the most viewed, or the competitive streak in me.
Absolutely. Dangerous and focused. That's iconic. That is in the barbering industry.
You guys better be repping them t-shirts. I definitely want a t-shirt of these lads, but do you have to join the
We
club?
need to get some.
No, we'll have to get some. We don't have any.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
We have it for ourselves. Like
It's a great brand and I love it.
We thought to ourselves, like, you know, I'm wearing Nike, I'm wearing all these other brands. Why not rep our own stuff? And you never know. Like the amount of people who look at it and think, what's going on there?
And I'll ask a question. We all know what Nike is, or we know the brand.
Yeah. But this is where it's going. That's a little insight.
It's very fresh.
This is where it's going in the future. That's where it's going. That name Unlimited, like that's where it's going.
It just pops.
You know what it is.
And Leigh's look good as well.
Because this is the thing with this podcast, and I guess, you know, so this is a great way to wrap it up. Dangerous When Focused is your podcast. You know, you're getting people on who are essentially, you know, dangerous when focused in their own.
That's the whole, we asked them the question.
Ours is unlimited. So when you think about what is unlimited, without limits, no limits, it's limitless to a degree. And like for us, a big thing is helping people break limiting beliefs.
And that's what you do, I know.
Yeah. So yes, we'll wrap it up on this question then. What does unlimited mean to you?
Yeah.
An unlimited life.
Like what, it kind of just makes me say, why not open a shop? Why not, you know, go travelling? Why not up my haircut prices? Why not text that person? Why not? It just means it's actually, there's like no roof on life, so to speak, and everyone likes living in this box. Everyone likes living like comfortably. We live in a box, we work in a box. You guys are fucking after taking the roof off. Like, let's just fly to another part of the world and ask questions and help people. And it's like, it is unlimited. You're just like, yeah, if I said to do a workshop in Canada, you guys could do that, because why not? You know, I like that. Very nice. It's the why not life.
Yeah. So we've made you really think about what is the opposite that you were saying.
Yeah. You know, what if I didn't open that other shop? I could open the shop and make more money from that shop than I ever did. Or that could be the one that makes me, you know, change the whole game. Or that could be, who knows? You're definitely opening my eyes up in the last like 90 minutes to be like, just literally to say to myself, why not? Or why not go meet that person? Why not fly over to Amsterdam to the hair show? You know, just do it.
One thing I've been thinking about lately, and it's a little bit morbid in a sense, but like the whole why not mentality, like I think about the deathbed scenario quite a lot, and I think about people who have passed.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what good is all of their stuff now? Like all of the stuff that they have, it's kind of like, what good is it now? Like it's belonged to someone else. So why the fuck not? Like while you're here, do what feels good. Follow the feeling. Follow what feels good.
Yeah.
You know, like think about the houses that we all worked for, the this, the that. Just someone else is fucking living in them now.
Yeah, you kind of only borrow everything.
You know? So why not?
Yeah, I know. Why not go on holidays to Barbados on Monday?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Why am I working this hard? I want to do more of that stuff.
Now look, that's great at a certain point, right? But when it comes at a cost of like growth, it's like, well, if you were putting all of your savings into this and then coming back and being stuck in something that you didn't like,
yeah,
in a different, say that you were, that's because that's a lot of people's reality.
Oh, I've been 11 years in business, and it's like I didn't really holiday for the first 2 years at all. I didn't take more than a few days off. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that, yeah, you know, somebody said to me the other day on a call, a girl that I used to coach actually. So I haven't been coaching her now for about a year, but I was coaching her for about a year, and she's got a barbershop in Darwin, and she turned around and she's like, it's mad, isn't it, the life that you've created? Like, do you ever sit down and like reflect upon like the life you've created? I was like, not really, but it's you're right in what you're saying. Like, you know, I'm able to be here. Our business still grows. We're still doing, again, like record. This month is on par with the biggest month we've ever done. And
look where you are geographically.
We're here. I've probably done the least amount of work that I've ever done in the month. If you were to classify it as work, you know, what depends what you classify as work. But then I said to her, this didn't happen this month. This happened 5 years ago. This happened
like the bamboo tree or whatever.
This happened 10 years ago. This happened fucking when I started cutting hair and I was using Snapchat like this, and it's the consistency and the patience. And
I'm going to tell everyone that now. You know, when I'm in a nice hotel or when I am. And I actually just verbalized. I said, you're going to see, you might see me living it up next week in a really nice part of the world. I feel like I kind of want, I don't need to justify, but I like to show people the journey and be like, yeah, look at this guy. He's enjoying life.
Inspire, yes.
Yeah.
Take
if
it
it's
as
5,000
inspiration.
people.
Yeah.
And
Take it
if
as
you're
inspiration.
part of that, amazing. I want to see you do well, as I would wish you want to see me do well.
Totally.
Thank you for choosing Cut and Sew. Thank you for letting me cut your hair. If it was 11 years ago, or if you're coming in today and it's not me, this happened 11 years. I didn't think of it like that. This happened 11 years ago.
Yeah. 100%. It did, and didn't, like that trip to Barbados, it didn't happen next week. It didn't happen this week, even though it's a record-breaking week. But the record-breaking week didn't happen this week. That happened fucking 11 years ago as well.
Yeah.
It's like, so the people who are listening to this and who want something in the future, it's like, you need to start doing it today. Like, if you want something in 5 years, you need to think about it today.
That's a very good one to
It's
end
the
on.
same thing as the course. It's the same move with the post. Just get going now.
And a real quick one, because what I'm getting based off the workshop that I wanted to do if I was here, I would pay for it right now, 1,000,000%, and I would really absorb the 3 days knowledge, and I would implement it the next day. I would be like, right, can't do mid-length hair. Well, now I know how to do mid-length hair. I know how to photograph mid-length hair, put it on my Instagram to attract more people in and to feel more comfortable doing it and do it more efficiently. That's what I would think I'd be getting from it. And I think, yeah, God, I don't know. Can't wait to fly over to Australia maybe. Or you might be in Europe somewhere.
Totally, man. Totally. And you know what?
I'll get that VIP 10% discut, I hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
Link in bio.
Make it bio, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Shawnee, thanks so much.
Lads,
Appreciate it.
my pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Great chat. Lots of gems in there. It's a wrap. Stay unlimited, stay dangerous and focused.